The WNBA Finals, they tip off on Sunday with Game 1 between the New York Liberty and the Las Vegas Aces going down in Sin City. We've done our WNBA Finals preview, but now it's time to look at the best bets for the 2023 W Finals. Joining me to help break it all down is Action Network contributor, my guy Bryan Fonseca, who is here now. Bryan, how's it going? Are you ready for these W Finals?
I'm so glad this didn't get spoiled. Because I thought the Connecticut Sun could do it. I thought the Mystics could do it. But this is finally this is the finals that we've wanted all season long. Best two teams, has a potential to be the best WNBA Finals ever. So I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, I was saying the same thing in our preview, that sometimes we do not get the matchups that we want in the Super Bowl, the NBA Finals, World Series. We got it here. The people wanted it, and now they have it. But let's look at some betting stuff around this WNBA Finals. And Bryan, looking at the series odds, the defending champion Aces, they're the favorites here. Liberty, they're the underdogs. In terms of looking for value, what's your best play when it comes to betting the series?
Yeah, so I actually bet the Liberty to win this series weeks ago, and I did it again before the series because when I had it as a future weeks ago, this was before the playoffs, this was at plus 150, and now it's closer to plus 170, plus 165, depending on where you look. The New York Liberty are a very good team who have matched up well with the Aces, who have beaten them 3 times this season, if you include 2 regular season games and the Commissioner Cup final. And they, I think, are being undervalued by some of the books. I think the numbers are shortening a little bit just because there are more bets being placed on the Liberty. Since obviously the finals was announced that these two teams are going to face each other. But at the end of the day, they've also had a tougher path. And the wonder is, can it wear on them that they've had to go through the Washington Mystics and the Connecticut Sun? Or could that actually play into their favor because Las Vegas Aces have not been tested at all? And Dex, you know I love boxing. Certain times you want guys to be battle tested. You want teams to be battle tested before going into big championship fights. Are the Aces coming off 2 relatively easy sort of matchups in these playoffs? Are they just walking into a series where the Liberty are just going to be ready for this? So I think that plus 170 with the Liberty is the way that I'm leaning, and I recommend that for all Liberty bettors because if they're going to win the series, obviously you want to pick them to win the series.
Yeah, there you go. Good value there if you are banking on the Liberty to get this done at plus 170. You mentioned the road there, the Aces 5-0 in the WNBA playoffs thus far. And you have been giving, Bryan, bettors winners when it comes to player props during the W playoffs with the Action Network. Let's go with the player prop for each team. What do you have to keep an eye on in the series? Which player props are you locked in on right now?
It's still Betnijah Laney for the New York Liberty. I mean, you're looking at going over at least 15 points in 13 of her last 15 or something along those lines. Like, she's just been on a tear and she keeps getting her over prop. And now the lines have finally adjusted. Betnijah Laney has been listed at over or under 15.5 points or 16.5 points. And she still has gotten a lot of games where, you're seeing 17, 19, 20, 19 again. Like, Betnijah Laney has just been getting this over routinely and consistently for the last couple of months. This isn't a small stretch. We're talking about several weeks now where she's been effective. And then on the flip side, when you're looking at the Las Vegas Aces, I'm looking at A'ja Wilson unders. This is something I wrote about on the Action Network. A'ja Wilson has struggled against New York Liberty. This is the only team to hold her to 2 single-digit scoring games this season, and she's never gotten a rebounding over against this team because she's never had more than 8 rebounds in a game. I think that if the Aces are going to win this series, it's going to be more so because of the shooting and the playmaking ability from their players on the perimeter, that being Kelsey Plum, that being Chelsea Gray, and that being Jackie Young. I'm not entirely sure that it's going to be a big A'ja Wilson series. I don't think she's going to be under for every game because she's too excellent to do that. And she does have a couple games in the 20s, a 23-point outing, most noteworthy against the Liberty this season, her highest scoring one. But there's also a 16 and 2 nines. And I just think that if the Aces are going to win this series, it's going to be, because of what they can do on the perimeter. And A'ja Wilson may have a game or two for sure because, again, she's great. too great not to, but it's going to be tough for her against the front court of Breanna Stewart and Jonquel Jones.
She has a tough matchup indeed. So looking at those A'ja Wilson unders, also Betnijah Laney over on points. She's been killing in terms of scoring in that regard. Now, I always like to talk betting awards. A'ja Wilson, she's the odds-on favorite to win the WNBA Finals MVP at -175. Are you backing the two-time regular season MVP here, or are you looking at another player?
Well, for the Liberty, it's interesting because you can look at a bunch of different things. And with Breanna Stewart, she's the first name you're going to think about, and she probably has the shortest odds for WNBA MVP, Finals MVP, if it's going to be the Liberty winning the series. But the thing with Breanna Stewart is she's been struggling for much of the playoffs and even toward the tail end of the regular season, just scoring from the floor, just shooting from the floor efficiently and effectively. And it opens up the door for if Sabrina Ionescu gets hot. And if she's going to be someone who has a three-point party against the Las Vegas Aces and their defense, is Betnijah Laney, one, is she sort of a name, a big enough name to get this award? Because remember, awards are voted on. These are narrative awards. And if we had a Western Conference or Eastern Conference Finals MVP, I think that Betnijah Laney probably could have won that. But awards are kind of popularity contests. So would she have been voted on? So I wonder if she's going to keep up this consistent play, would she sort of be a worthy bet? I think because of where the odds are for her, and it's very much a long shot, you could sprinkle on that. And Jonquel Jones is another, because if you're talking about just sheer raw numbers, points and rebounds, and of course a defensive impact, if A'ja Wilson is to have an underwhelming series, Jonquel Jones will be a big part of that. So I think that those are the things you have to look for. I probably have to lean toward Breanna Stewart, because if she's just flatly good and not even great and the Liberty win, she's somebody who could win it. Sabrina Ionescu, and then you could probably pick one of Jonquel Jones or Betnijah Laney to sprinkle on, just in case one of them are as great in this series as they were in the conference finals.
Plenty of good value if you're thinking about picking a Liberty player to win WNBA Finals MVP, so check out those odds there. All right, Game 1, Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern. As of now, the Aces, they're 4.5-point favorites. The over-under is 172.5 in terms of total points. What's your best bet for Game 1 of the Finals?
It would probably be silly of me to pick the Liberty and pick the Aces to win Game 1. So even though the Liberty are the road team, I'm going to roll with them to steal Game 1. It's happened plenty of times. We've seen it in playoff basketball in the NBA and the WNBA, where the road team just wins Game 1. It doesn't always mean they're going to win the series, but I do think that if you're an Aces bettor and you're backing them to win the series, yeah, it would benefit you for the Liberty to win Game 1, because then you'll have more value on the Aces to win the series, who might even become slight underdogs after that, because they would then give up home court advantage. But I'm rolling with the Liberty. I'm rolling with them just straight up on the money line for Game 1. I think that they can cover for sure, but at the same time, they do have a win in Las Vegas this year, the Commissioner Cup final. And I think that this team is just very much built to play against the Aces. I think that was strategic, and I think the Aces are still, missing Candace Parker is not a small thing, and we haven't heard much. Doesn't seem like she's going to play in the finals. So I think that the Liberty are going to win Game 1 and win this series.
All right, there you go. That should make the Liberty fans happy, the Liberty bettors happy out there as well, too. That's Bryan Fonseca, contributor to the Action Network, joining us to break down the best bets for the WNBA Finals. Bryan, thank you. Enjoy the series, man.
Absolutely. Anytime.